All right, let's go ahead with lesson 9.3 in your book, page 489, factoring trinomials in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. All right, well, first of all, let's review just multiplication again, and let's notice some things as we go. Let's say I have x plus 2 times x plus 3. I use my arrows and I multiply it out, and I get that x squared from the first terms. The outer terms are x3x, the inner terms are 2x, and the last term is 6. I combine those. I notice that the x's are like terms, so I really combine them. X squared is plus 3 plus 2x, okay, which gives me x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now let's take a look at x, just the factoring using variables instead of numbers. If I have x plus n times x plus n, I really just multiply that out. I get x squared from my first terms. My inner two terms, or my inner term and my outer term added together are n plus m times x. And the final term, the last term, is always m times n. Okay? So if you were to look at this in the form of x squared plus bx plus c, you'll notice that b would take the place of n plus m, or m plus n, here, and c takes the place of m times n. So since you know that's the pattern, we then now can start building some equations. So let's take a look at it here. Okay? Let's look at it very simply, restate it. X squared plus bx plus c is equal to x plus m times x plus n if m plus n is equal to b, the coefficient of the middle term, and m times n is equal to c, the coefficient, or the last term. Now let's look at this as an example. We use the example we used up above. X squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to x plus 2, x times x plus 3. Well, let's take a look. Are our m and our n values, 2 and 3, are they going to be, when added up, do they equal our b value, which is 5? Well, 2 plus 3 equals 5. b is 5. That is correct. How about when I take m and n, 2 times 3 equals 6. Is that equal to c? Come over here, and yes, it is, c. So that's just a quick way of looking at it. And that's the pattern we're going to follow. We're going to look for an addition of two numbers that add up to the middle term but multiply to the third term, coefficient of the middle term. Okay? We have example 1. Example 1, what happens in the example 1 when I have the following? I have a equation or expression in this format: ax plus x squared plus bx plus c. And then in this case, I want to know that b and c are both positive. When they're both positive answers, b is positive and c is positive, what do we do? Well, how do we factor them? Well, let's just use an example. And example number 1 is this: x squared plus 6x plus 8. Well, I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to, when multiplied together, two numbers that equal 8, and then add up to that. And how do you do that? Well, we're going to write the third number, the c value, in a factor table. But I'm going to add in it a third column, which I'm going to call the summation table, or column, or the plus column. So now I'm going to do my factors. Well, what is my factors of 8? Well, 1 and 8 equals 8. 1 times 8 equals 8. If 1 times 8 equals 8, well, what do they add up to? Well, they add up to 9. Is that number the b value, or the coefficient of the x, the second term? No, it isn't. So let's go on. Let's say 2 and 4. 2 and 4 added together give me 6. Is 6 the coefficient of that? Yes, it is. So that is the correct pair of numbers that I want to use. And when I say that, find that correct pair, I can then just say that this is factored out to x plus 2 and x plus 4. And that is the factoring of that problem. Let's look at example number 2 now. In example number 2, I'll repeat it, the original equation, bx plus c. And in this example, b is going to be a negative and c is going to be a positive. So let's look at the example. Let's say we have x squared minus 10x plus 16. So we know our b value right here is negative 10. Our c value is positive 16. Okay? So when we draw our factoring table with the extra line in it, we're going to say 16 is what we're looking for, and the summation of the two needs to be negative 10. So let's start. Well, since it's a positive c value, but a negative b value, I know that I'm going to have to multiply two negative numbers together for them to add up to be negative 10. Hello. You got a Windows, which machine is it? Is it just your laptop? And it's Windows 7? Okay, so you've got Windows 7 is trying to configure an update, and you're getting a configuration fails. And goes through the same problem again. Does it give you a message like hold down the F2 key for setup? Okay. Yeah. When you restart it, I mean turn it off and turn it back on, you might have to hit the F2 key. There's no other way. If it doesn't fix itself, you got to do something. And you got to hit the F2 key. I think it's the F2 key on your probably. And then while it's booting up, then it'll go into what's called safe mode or whatever. It'll go into boot up mode and it'll ask you how to boot it up. And then you can, it should give you an option in there, either boot safely or boot with networking or something like that. And then you just boot it with that and see if it works. And that might solve your problem. When it reboots, you know, when it turns off and on, flashes on, usually if you hold the F2 key down, you might have to hold it down while that's all going on. Then it'll give you a menu to boot from. You may be in a situation where that won't work, but let's try that first. Yeah, I understand that you might be doing this once every 10, 15 minutes. So, if I can tell you this, that if it's a Windows machine and you're in that mode, we're going to have to send it to somebody to get fixed if we can't fix it with this little reboot process. All right? Yeah, I know. Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful news, right? It's always what happens when your computer doesn't work, right? Yeah, if it's really important, you should do something or somehow get to software that's online, something like that, so that even when you go down, you can just go get another computer and go. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to lose files. We may have to transfer files, but if we have to send this away to get fixed, to send it away over to Fox or somebody, they'll probably be able to fix it and recover your hard drive, unless that's the actual problem. But This is probably not a hard drive problem. It's probably something else. All right? I'll try that, and then we'll see what happens. Okay, bye. Hello. No, I didn't realize that. I wouldn't be back till about 5, but when do they start? Yeah, at best it'll be 4:30, but I'll be back by 5. Okay? Yep.